Hey guys, Lex G here. Just to give you a behind the scenes update on this particular show. Due to the length of this show, I've decided to make it a two-parter. We went about an hour and 20 minutes, about 20 minutes over our normal runtime, which is about an hour. I just want to say that most videos on YouTube are approximately around 15 minutes. Our videos are about an hour, especially for the NWA project, about 30 minutes for retro wrestling games. So I do appreciate the time that you spend with us. Hopefully we keep you entertained. And I definitely understand that your time is precious. So I appreciate you guys if you guys spend 5 minutes with us or the whole hour. So again, I've decided to cut this video into two parts. The first part will be about the WWE draft, and the second part will be about live events today versus yesterday. So thank you and enjoy the show. And welcome back to the NWA 1983 project. I'm your host, Lex G. Along with me, as always, is Matt Riley. How you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm pumped and jacked.
Can you be jacked and pumped at the same time?
You ask Carol. Yeah, jacked and pumped.
Oh, bless his heart. So, guys, this episode will be another compilation of week number 4. So, we're going to take all the best matches from around the NWA and compile them into one show. This will be the go-home show prior to the Parade of Champions 1983 live from Texas Stadium. It's a big show, guys. Now, to quickly go over that card, what you'll be seeing, and I want your guys' opinion. Do you think this has the ability to sell out Texas Stadium? The card that's going to come up right now that I'm going to share with you guys. So let me know. So we have Iceman King Parsons versus the Great Kabuki. We have Randy Savage versus Andre the Giant. Next up, we have Dusty Rhodes, Bruiser Brody, and Dick Murdoch versus Dory Funk, Terry Funk, and Stan Hansen. We have Kerry Von Erich versus Jimmy Garvin. We have Ric Flair versus Harley Race inside the steel cage for the NWA Championship. We have Tully Blanchard versus El Santo. And we have, in the main events, Kevin Von Erich, David Von Erich, and Chris Adams taking on the Freebirds, Michael P.S. Hayes, Terry Gordy, and Buddy Jack Roberts. So I'm wondering, do you think that card has the ability to sell out that stadium? We will see, folks. We will see. Now, the official capacity for Texas Stadium at the time was 60,000 people. So we're hoping we can get fit 60,000 people. Keep in mind that the Parade of Champions in 1984 did about 50,000 people. So it's a good barometer. A good chance of definitely selling that out, especially with that card. Hopefully I put together a adequate card for a show of that magnitude. So a couple things that we want to talk about on this episode of the project. We're going to talk about the WWE draft that just happened this week. In addition, we'll be talking about WWE live events, then versus now. So Matt, you have your draft results up? Let's see what we got.
Oh, let's see here.
We have our commissioners for Raw, which is Stephanie McMahon, with GM Mick Foley. And for SmackDown, we have Commissioner Shane McMahon with Daniel Bryan. I called that, by the way, folks. Go back a couple episodes. I called that.
Called it. All right, so I've got the roster, most of them up here.
Okay, so I have it broken down by rounds, too. So round number 1, we have Seth Rollins going to Raw. Number 2, we have WWE Champion Dean Ambrose going to SmackDown Live. Number 3, we have WWE Women's Champion Charlotte going to Raw. Number 4, we have AJ Styles going to SmackDown Live. And number 5, we have Finn Balor going to Raw from NXT. So, Matt, what do you think about the first round?
I will say this. I'm not a huge fan of Dean Ambrose.
Okay.
A good worker and all that, but I'm not a huge fan of his I've never been a fan of the jeans, jorts look.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it looks minor league-ish, you know. But I like the picks overall. I like Finn Balor as a kind of surprise, like, ooh, you know.
I'm curious about why they didn't have a surprise, kind of a free agent getting drafted for this draft, especially in the first round, because that would have created intrigue later on. So say if they would have said, with the number 4 pick, we pick Kurt Angle, and everyone would lose their shit and the internet would explode. And then for the remainder of the draft, you will have that kind of like, oh, Scott Steiner's coming. I made a joke on Twitter, with the 108th pick, the main event drafts, the Human Wrecking Machine, Zeus.
Zeus. Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, the first round I think went pretty. You get the champions there, so that was a kind of obvious setup.
No Cena in the first round.
Yes.
No Roman Reigns in the first round.
Right.
No Brock Lesnar in the first round. So I see that kind of interesting there. Again, I probably would have took, you would have to take the champion because as of right now, the belt will be exclusively defended on your show up until SummerSlam is when they're thinking about maybe taking a separate belt or doing something with the champion. Same thing with the women's champion, which is weird because SmackDown drafted women, but there's no belts for them to go after. So I wonder what they're going to do with that. So we'll see going forward. Again, I think AJ Styles for SmackDown, I think, if they're considering making SmackDown the wrestling show again, they definitely picked up a huge boost with AJ Styles, and then Finn Balor going to Raw. Again, that's a big deal coming up from NXT. That's kind of it wasn't a shocker. We all knew he was going to get called up at some point. I guess this is when they decided to do it. So kind of intrigued, where he's going to fit in kind of the shuffle there. So real interested with that. I can possibly see a feud with maybe Chris Jericho going forward. He's been putting over the young guys as of late, so I can definitely see that. So in round 2, we have Roman Reigns going to Raw, John Cena going to SmackDown, which I think both of us called, by the way.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar going to Raw, Randy Orton going to SmackDown, and the WWE Tag Team Champions, The New Day, all 3 of them, going to Raw.
Well, it's funny. As you look at the lineups, you kind of think, okay, who are they going to feud with? Because once you bring a team in, you got to kind of figure, okay, there's only so many tag teams, there's only so many, wrestlers, so you got to kind of pair people up,
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see who they actually pair people up with.
So, we're definitely going forward. We're going to see a continuation of the John Cena AJ Styles feud since they're both on SmackDown. Curious about what they're going to do with Randy Orton since Orton and Lesnar are on 2 different shows. And they're booked already for SummerSlam. But from what I understand, they said that the 4 big shows, so your WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble, that all of them will be participating in that, and the rest of the pay-per-views will be brand-specific pay-per-views. So in round 3, we have Sami Zayn going to Raw. Number 12, we have Bray Wyatt going to SmackDown. Number 13, we have Sasha Banks going to Raw. Number 14, we have Becky Lynch going to SmackDown. The first woman drafted for SmackDown, by the way. And number 15, we have Chris Jericho going to Raw. So I think Sasha Banks is a big pickup. I think that's going to continue the feud with her and Charlotte going forward. So I like to see that. Becky Lynch, as if we get down later down into the rounds, we see that Natalya get drafted. So they'll continue the Becky Lynch Natalya feud on SmackDown. So that's good to see. And then Jericho is on Raw, which is I guess he didn't want to work Tuesdays. I guess.
Right.
So round 4, the United States champion Rusev with Lana going to Raw. Again, that's going to be, I guess, their preeminent championship until they do something with a world championship.
Yeah.
Number 17, we have Intercontinental Champion The Miz going to SmackDown, which is, again, it's interesting to me because their WWE champion and Intercontinental champion are on the same show, and those are their heritage championships, I guess you would call them, their long-standing championships they've had for a long time.
Right.
They have Kevin Owens going to Raw, and I guess that's going to continue the feud with Sami Zayn, so that's good to see. They're going to be fighting literally forever, I think.
Quick question. Have you ever seen Sami Zayn and Seth Rogen in the same room? Watch him when he wears this little hat in the promos.
They're both Canadian, so maybe they're related.
Maybe.
And how can we forget one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, El Generico, who is good friends with Sami Zayn and feuded with Kevin Owens, in their days of Ring of Honor. Apparently, he went down to Mexico and is helping orphans at an orphanage. So, good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Number 19, my least favorite wrestler, other than Sheamus, Baron Corbin. He's on SmackDown.
Yeah,
you guys don't like him. It's hard to explain. Like, I'm sure he's a nice enough guy. He's a hardworking guy, but I'm just not. He's just not. I'm not into him at all. So, number 20, Enzo and Big Cass going over to Raw.
Yep, good.
So I was glad to see them over there. I guess their teaming with John Cena is over at this point, so we'll see where they go with there. I'm assuming they're going to be feuding with the New Day, trying to get tag team championships.
Yeah.
Round number 5, we have Gallows and Anderson as the 21st pick, going to Raw. So the club has been sort of disbanded.
Mm-hmm.
with AJ going over to SmackDown. I wonder if they're going to team up with Finn Balor, because as some of you may know, that Finn Balor was the original leader of the Bullet Club. So,
Really?
yes, so we might see them reunite, so to speak. So that might be interesting. We have American Alpha going to SmackDown. They're the 22nd pick, and they're from NXT. Again, one of the best tag teams I've probably seen in a very, very long time. Probably since the World's Greatest Tag Team of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. These guys are that good, so they remind me of them too. 23, The Big Show. He's still around, folks. He will be going on Raw. Looks like he's going to start a feud with Shaquille O'Neal. They had a little confrontation, so to speak. So maybe they'll set something up for SummerSlam. We have Dolph Ziggler going to SmackDown. They haven't done anything with Dolph Ziggler in the past, it seems like forever at this point. So,
Yeah.
Curious to see where he goes from here. If they're going to turn him heel or whatever. I'd like to see him and AJ Styles get in the ring together and really tear it up. I think they could do some fun stuff. And an interesting pick at number 25, they have Nia Jax from NXT going to Raw. And I find this interesting because I don't think she's anywhere close to being ready. She's still green as goose shit. So I don't know what they're going for there. I don't know if there's some family ties there. She is The Rock's cousin.
Oh boy.
I think she's going to be awesome at some point. Again, she's not going to be good as Amazing Kong, I don't think. But Amazing Kong was incredible. But I'm curious with her size and her build, if she can do something interesting there. So again, I get another woman for their women's division. So I'm curious about what they're going to go, what they're going to do going forward. Round number 6, they had Neville going to Raw, and I saw him going over to SmackDown. So I find that real interesting. I'm wondering who's going to feud with going forward. I mean, he's back from his injury, so he was on the fast track before he got hurt. So I'm wondering if he's going to be able to recapture that momentum.
Yeah, they have a habit of once a guy gets hurt or something happens, they just drop like a stone.
Yeah, man. Number 27, Natalya going over to SmackDown. Again, we talked about this before. I think she's going to continue her feud with Becky Lynch, and they'll go on from there. Interesting pick at number 28, that's Cesaro going to Raw. Now, I don't know if you guys caught the interview Cesaro did. It was basically a shoot interview about how he didn't want to go to Raw, and he basically stated that he wanted the show to be about the wrestlers, not about bickering GMs and stuff like that. So, good shooting, Cesaro. I wonder if that's a worker issue. We don't know, but he wants to be on the wrestling show, and he doesn't want to deal with any of the backstage skits or whatever. So,
yeah,
curious what they're going to do with him going forward. If he's really disgruntled, and it's a live show, guys. So, who knows? Number 29, they got Alberto Del Rio going over to SmackDown. Again, he's right now he's middle of the pack. Again, I don't think he's being used to his full potential, unfortunately. So,
right.
I'm curious what they're going to do with him. I could see him feuding with maybe a Randy Orton going forward. Number 30, they have Sheamus going to Raw. I call him Shitmas because I don't like him. Again, nothing. It's just I just don't like him. I mean, there's
very Shitmas.
Yeah, I think he got pushed way too quick, and then there was nothing to do with him after he won the champ. Number 31, we have the Golden Truth. That's Goldust and R-Truth going over to Raw. They're very entertaining, so glad to see that. Number 32, they have the Usos going over to SmackDown, which is interesting because they're an established tag team going to a show where they have no tag team championships.
Right.
So hopefully they'll remedy that in the future. Number 33, we have the world's greatest dad, Titus O'Neil, going over to Raw. Number 34, we have Demon Kane. That's what they call him now. If he wears the mask, he's Demon Kane. When he takes the mask off, he's Corporate Kane. So he's officially known as Demon Kane going over to SmackDown.
Friggin' marketing assholes.
No, we have to call him that because we'll have one action figure where he's Corporate Kane, and then you can sell a 2-pack with Demon Kane and Corporate Kane.
Yeah.
Genius! He's gonna puke.
Number 35, we have Whitey McWhite Page going over to Raw. Which is interesting. I find that interesting since she is dating Alberto Del Rio. Now they're on separate shows. Yeah. So I wonder if that was on purpose or not. Good to see Paige, though. She's going to be in the women's division because they have the championship over at Raw. So, good for you. Round number 8. Guys, these were announced during the WWE Draft Center live on the WWE Network. So once SmackDown ended, you went over down to the network and you saw the remainder of the draft. Number 36, we have Darren Young with Bob Backlund going over to Raw. Bob Backlund is on Raw. Interesting. Number 37, we have Kalisto going over to SmackDown Live. And then we have Sin Cara going over to Raw. So that's the end of the Lucha Dragons, since they're on separate shows, so they were split up.
Oh.
Wah, wah, wah. Number 39, we have Naomi going over to SmackDown. She's married to one of the Usos, so I'm assuming that's why she's on SmackDown. Again, another woman going to women's division where there's no championship. So, again, continue to be curious about what they're going to do about that. Maybe they'll bring back that butterfly belt. Hopefully not. Number 40, we have Jack Swagger going over to Raw. And again, nothing to say about Jack Swagger at this point. They haven't been doing anything with him. It's too bad. He's a good worker. The lisps kind of hurts him quite a bit. So, but I thought the stuff he did with Dutch Mantel was good. Zeb Coulter for you youngins out there. He's Dutch Mantel to me. God damn it. Number 41, we have the Ascension going over to SmackDown. Haven't recovered really since JBL buried him live on television.
Yeah,
not good. Around number 9, we have the Dudley Boys going over to Raw, which is good because they have the championship belts over there. We have my good friend Zack Ryder going over to SmackDown. He lives like 30 minutes away from me, so I can't not be a fan of his. Nice. So I like his beard too. I think his beard makes him look badass. Number 44, we have Summer Rae going over to Raw. Her face bothers me. You ever seen her? Like, she's pretty, right? I'm not going to say she's not pretty. And, she's gotten a lot better than when she first started. But it's like, butterface. We have my good longtime personal friend, Apollo Crews, going over to SmackDown Live. Which is going to be good for him. Again, there's a lot of good talent over there. So, curious to see how they push him. They kind of cooled off on him a little bit. He said he's smiling too much is one of the criticisms.
Really?
Yeah. He's happy to be there. He's probably making a lot of money. He'd be happy too.
Yeah.
Number 46, we have Mizark, or Mark Henry, going over to Raw. Again, he's been silent. What, Dudley? No. He's been, hopefully, with him going to Raw, the brand split, that he'll get some more attention. Do you know he's been in WWE for 20 years at this point?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, that's an amazing run for him. Good for you, Mark. Number 47, we have my favorite, one of my favorite women right now, Alexa Bliss, going over to SmackDown Live from NXT. I don't know, there's something about her that I just enjoy. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Round 10, we have Braun Strowman, which I have to believe is a Ferris Bueller reference. Have you guys ever watched that movie?
Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
The Sausage King of Chicago?
Yeah.
The one day they were like, God damn it, what's this game gonna be? And the guy was like watching Ferris Bueller on his phone under the table. Strowman.
If CM Punk was still there, he would have made that reference.
Yeah, he sure would have.
Number 49, we have Breezango, Tyler Breeze and Fandango going to SmackDown. Yeah. For a brief moment of time after WrestleMania 29, he was like the hottest thing, and then they just cooled him off right away.
You know what I think happened, though? He's one of those guys that... Remember when not was a big thing?
Yeah.
Like, there are people that still say not nowadays. Well, he was real smoking hot, but I think they killed it. Because there's a difference between riding a popular thing and then beating it into the ground.
Right.
Being like, not was hot for like a few weeks, and then everyone's parents started saying it.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, it's not cool anymore.
Fandango got a victory over Chris Jericho on WrestleMania.
And he will say that for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Johnny Curtis, who's Fandango, he's a hell of a worker, and he's been in that system forever, like 10 years. Yeah. And now he's like finally getting his opportunity. He gets I won't say it's lame, but how's it any different than Disco Inferno? I'm not sure. And he's no honky tonk man, so right. What are you gonna do? Number 50, we have Bo Dallas going over to Raw. He must have Bo Leeds and made it and got drafted. So
right.
Good for you. I want to hear some IRS references or something. Number 51, we have the world's worst wrestler, Eva Marie, going over to SmackDown Live.
I've never seen her wrestle, I don't think.
Literally, people just boo the shit out of her. Like, they literally, every time she comes on, they scream, "You can't wrestle." And she can't. But to her credit, she was on the main roster, and she requested to go down to NXT to get better. And then they brought her back up again. So she's trying. She gets an A for effort. Number 52, you have the Shining Stars, Epico and Primo. or Eddie and Orlando. They're the Colognes people.
Yes.
Should watch our show on Puerto Rican wrestling. Number 53 of the Vaudevillains going over to SmackDown.
Yeah.
They seem to cool off quite a bit too. I think their shtick gets old real fast, and they have to reinvent themselves like real quick, or they're going to find themselves at the bottom of the card. Round 11, the final round, we have Alicia Fox, who I forgot was even still in the company. I thought she got released, but she's still there on Raw. You have Eric Rowan. He's going to join Bray Wyatt over at SmackDown Live. Dana Brooke going to Raw so she can continue to be mentored by Charlotte. I'm not sold on Dana Brooke. I think she's maybe a year and she's done. I haven't seen her progress that much at all, either on the microphone or in the ring. So number 57, Mojo Rawley. You know who he's friends with, right? Yeah, he's Gronkowski's best friend.
Really?
Yeah, they use that as part of his gimmick. He's always hyped. Good for you, Mojo. He's going to SmackDown from NXT. You have number 58. We have Curtis Axel. They just call him Joe Hennig, please. Okay.
Yeah.
Going over to Raw. And with the final pick of the 2016 WWE Draft, we have Carmella going from SmackDown Live from NXT. Carmella's okay. I don't know why she's going up to the main roster, especially with Bayley not getting drafted.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming they're using that for an angle, because I'm pretty sure it's either her or the Bella is going to be Sasha's tag team partner at the next pay-per-view, so we'll see how that goes.
Now, here's the thing I think about.
Yeah.
Because I can see them doing this. I can see Balor taking on the Bullet Club, become the Balor Club.
Yeah.
I could see AJ Styles forming up with two other guys to become the new Bullet Club over there, or the club, so you have two clubs.
Yeah.
Either they're all under one, they're just a club, and there's two branches of it, or you have like rival competing clubs.
It's very possible. They could have different colors, like NWO black and white and
right.
the Wolfpack.
You could have the Ascension and Corbin team up to be the Ignored.
Yeah.
Because new social outcasts.
Speaking of social outclass, Heath Slater not drafted.
Yeah, poor guy.
And they did play it up on the show. Like they did a scene at the end of the show where he's sitting in the waiting room and he's by himself, and they shut off the light on him. And he's like, "What is this crap?"
No.
So the WWE is definitely embracing his jobber status. He should team with Barry Horowitz.
I just found it.
So there's some notable people that did not get drafted. So Samoa Joe being one of them, but we kind of understand that because he's the NXT champion. No Austin Aries, no Nakamura, and no Bayley. So I think those are the big names that were out there that didn't get drafted, unfortunately.
Well, I can see them bringing other people in, like free agents, so to speak, or whatever.
I mean, they've done it before. Remember the infamous Scott Steiner when they were trying to court him?
Oh,
and, he tried to rape Stephanie McMahon. So I love Scott. First of all, I love Scotty. I'm a Scott Steiner fan.
Oh.
I do like his in-ring work. It got, whatever the fuck, when he got old and he could be ballooned up. But the shit he says on the microphone is insane, and it's awesome. They're not good promos, but they're kind of like Dusty. Now, Dusty could cut a good emotional promo, but the shit he came out of his mouth made no fucking sense. You know what I mean? But you kind of relate it to the passion.
Right.
Scott Steiner has a different passion, and you can't understand anything that comes out of his mouth because none of it makes no sense. But he's still entertaining as fuck. And you can still hit a Frankensteiner. And it's called a Frankensteiner, not a Hurricane Rana, goddammit.
I'm calling an early club with AJ teaming up with two wrestlers, but rather than make it two guys, it could be let's say he goes to find Corbin. And
it'd probably be Corbin and maybe a heel turn from Apollo Crews, maybe a heel turn from Zack Ryder.
Yeah, or could it be two more high-level guys? Because I still say what they're not doing enough of is putting a stable together of people that are both good workers and relatively good in the mic. Have him team up with Miz and Ziggler.
Yeah,
Now that's a good trio
Yeah, I agree.
because they can have the IC title. They got guys chasing the world title. They could be tagging up. Ziggler and Styles as a tag team. I'm just saying, like the possibilities are out there. I mean, there's guys like Kane. What's he gonna do? He's gonna probably be like just a basically like vehicle talent. kind of move things along.
He's gonna be the guy you feud with before you feud the top guy. He's gonna be like Jake Roberts.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Never trust a snake.
No. Bury me, Snake Man.
Bury me. And over in Raw, I can see lots of options there.
Who do you think did better, Raw or SmackDown?
I think for my interest, there's more talent on SmackDown I'd like to see. Just personally, like I like Kevin Owens. I think Enzo and Cass are fun, but their entrance is American Biker-esque. It's just the same 6 lines.
Yeah, it harkens back to like Road Dogg and.
Right, and I even said I put on Twitter like Road Dogg. We didn't know was better than
I agree because Road Dogg said some shit. So he was talking about doggy style. He was talking about rolling up a fatty. He was talking. Enzo again as a PG era guy, so he can't say all that shit. But Enzo is very respected in the locker room, especially in NXT. He's a guy that came up with a lot of those guys' gimmicks and kind of showed them how to work WWE style. So
really?
He's a big help to like Finn Balor and stuff like that. So he gets a lot of credit. When I went to the NXT panel, they really put him over huge. So I can see him being, he's a little sloppy in the ring, tends to get hurt, that kind of stuff. And I can see him, a year or two once this run is over, I can see him being more of a producer backstage or helping some of the young guys out or what have you. When his run is done. I think Big Cass, on the other hand, I think he's going to be a star for the future. He's someone that I want to look out for. I think he's going to be really, really good. I think he's world championship material.
Yeah, and I like about Cass is that he's got good emotion in his promos and his responses. It's like I always say, like when you act like on stage in the old acting classes, we would say to people like, it's important to keep yourself in the moment, and that means not just waiting for your line, but your character is showing you are aware of what's being said. You're responding. You'll see actors often like in like community theater. Or even movies. You'll see actors like waiting, especially actually more like sitcom TV or like regular television, not movies so much.
Yeah,
waiting to say their line. And he responds to what's being said. He makes reactions. It's funny. You look at the bottom tier talent of Raw, and I just think you get a lot of guys that have a harder time getting time as opposed to SmackDown, where I see like you got Ascension and the American Alphas. So you have 3 NXT tag teams and the Usos. Those guys are probably familiar themselves, with each other. And then you have Fandango and Pal.
Yeah.
So depending what goes on, you got Eric Rowan. There's some chance here. So I like to see some newer blood. I think one of the problems you have without having a rival promotion that's a significantly powerful rival promotion is you do have Big Show. You do have Mark Henry still there.
Yeah. These guys would have went away and came back fresh too.
Right. Like if Big Show left for a year or 2 years and came back, it would be like a huge pop. Like, oh my God, Big Show. And I think they've misused him a lot. Like instead of having him be the classic Andre the Giant, like good guy, like novelty type thing, and keeping him off the air until you need him, you've overexposed him.
I don't think he should ever get beat. Because in reality, if you're Brock Lesnar, then yes, but anyone else, no.
I also think you got.
Do you think the Mayweather thing hurt him?
Not too much. I mean, everyone kind of knew it was whatever. I'm curious though with Raw's roster, with women wrestlers, you get a lot more opportunity there. But really, you have Paige, Sasha, and Charlotte.
Yeah. Like
Brooke, I'm not sold on. Summer Rae's terrible. The new one, the Neo, whatever her name is there.
Nia Jax.
She's
like 6'3". Probably pushing 250, 275.
She's big boned.
Yeah, she's a beast.
I think you gotta see what the club does. I would like to see them use Balor to the best, and I think they'll try and do that pretty well.
I would automatically put him in the main event.
Oh yeah,
not win the championship, but just put him. You put a Rollins Balor match on TV.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like if they keep Rollins heel, obviously, I think.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna be feuding with Roman for. Forever.
See, I do think what you can do to make the shows more valuable you have to have some tiering and like some escalation in the sense that, have guys competing for the number one contender spot, and have it be that, if they are each having their own shows like you're talking about,
Yeah.
They're on their own pay-per-views, then have it be that on their pay-per-views, the number one contender challenges the WWE Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
And I just think having two champions waters it down.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, I just think if you have a champion that goes from show to show, and he's like almost like a free pass, he can go to either show. Whereas, like, let's say, first the tag champs are New Day, and they're on Raw, so you're going to have the guys on SmackDown competing to be the number one contenders because they're going to get a tag title shot, So each show has a World Championship match, but they're pitted against the number one contenders.
Now, if you take this Raw SmackDown poster I'm looking at into account,
Mm-hmm.
in the front you'll see Seth Rollins, Charlotte, Roman, and Finn all in front.
Yeah.
And on the SmackDown side, you see AJ, Dean, Cena, and Orton. Now, I don't know if they're placing these guys in the front because they're the most important people on the card, which that could be the case. But that's a really interesting spot for Finn, though, being right there in front.
Yeah.
It looks like they're pushing him hard.
Oh, I think, and what like Nakamura right now in NXT, like they didn't bring him in and have him like spend months toiling.
Yeah.
Boom, in the picture. And I think what's happened is I think they kind of know because of like they waited too long on Daniel Bryan, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
They realized that you got to strike while the iron's hot. If you sit there and say, well, someday, one day, these guys get hurt in such a high rate now, you can't wait.
Does it bring eyeballs back to the product? Does it make people curious? Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a good thing. But let's not forget about how everyone was bitching about the brand split right before they killed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think too, they learned from that.
I mean, I hope so.
And I also, one thing that we talked about, I just read about, was the new breakdown of the announcing teams.
Yes, who's notably absent from that.
And I will say that I'm actually very happy with that because Jerry Lawler, his act's about 5 years, 10 years. He's lost his fastball long. He's kind of like, remember Pat Summerall?
Yeah.
Like John Madden? Like, they were good to a certain point. They were really good. Then they started, like, losing it. And I think Lawler, it was the same shticky character. It was funny. Even during the draft, he had a line in there where one of the things I looked at for review talked about how like he was supposed to be a heel all of a sudden again,
Yeah.
And yet he made a line like, "Oh, all the picks are great." Like if I was him, I would have picked one person who's obvious babyface and been like, "Why did Cena go, fourth overall? He's terrible, like he's a washed up bum."
Jesse would have destroyed some of the picks.
Right, like stop picking because you're trying to keep these people happy. Pick for the roster,
Like he would have been upset that Brock was picked Brock Lesnar was picked like lower in the draft, and they got like Rusev. Like he's the U.S. champion. You guys picked him, whatever the fuck they picked him. But
I like that they had the belts up as a U.S. and IC belt. I actually like that when they picked Miz, they're like, we gotta have a belt on our show.
Yeah. Besides
the world, I do think you have a really good roster on SmackDown. I just think the Raw roster, to me, you have both ways can be good. I would say I'm curious what they're going to do to kind of differentiate the products. They do need to do something, whether it's, I think I talked about before, like having a 24/7 rule in place for something, or having it be submissions only for a title. Like you have to have someone tap out to win the title.
I mean, I would definitely invest in a completely different set. I mean, right now, the only thing that makes them different is one is blue and one is red.
Right.
So one's 3 hours, the other one's 2 hours. So
yeah, I will say I think my favorite announcer right now is, I'm going to say it wrong, the guy from SmackDown.
Was it Marcelo?
Yes. I think he's the best announcer I've heard probably since Ross.
Nice.
And it's because he puts so much passion into his calls that he goes over the top, and it's like, okay, it's kind of crazy, but it sells it. Like, there was a match one night, and he was talking, and so like, oh my God, how could I do that? But you kind of need that to kind of set the tone sometimes,
I dislike JBL as an announcer.
Oh, he's terrible.
He's no Jesse. And I'm very fond of Jesse Ventura, folks, so he's no Jesse. He's
awful, and here's why. Because he tries to play off being a heel, but then they bring out, like, little Torino, whatever it was, little mini bull guy. Look at that guy! He's so cute! How these fans love him! No. That's not what a heel does. A heel goes,
who let the dogs out?
Yeah.
You know, cuts them apart. You know, or mentions like, I heard your ex-wife's here. Oh, here she comes now.
Like, what would Bobby do? Bobby would have tore them apart.
Great.
And the thing about Jesse, and I'll leave this alone for a second. Jesse always kept the babyface announcer straight. So when the babyface announcer was shilling for somebody, he would call them out on it. That kind of stuff. If like he would point out the hypocrisy and things. And I listen to a lot of Jesse commentary as of late. I'm like, he was right on everything.
Right.
Like, he's a heel and he's rooting for the bad guys, but everything he says makes sense. Now, when like Bobby would shill for the bad guys, and a lot of his shit wouldn't make any sense, but he was so entertaining because of his, his banter with Gorilla. But Jesse was like spot on. He was like, why can Hogan rakes people's eyes and the fans cheer him, but if Macho does it, they boo him. What the hell is that nonsense? They should bring Jesse back. I remember they did that old school Raw when they had Jesse and Vince commentary, and I was in heaven. If I was opening a wrestling promotion and I had hundreds of millions of dollars, he would literally be the first person I would call. And I would I want you to do color commentary, and I would put him like Shivani or something. I call it a day.
Good old Tony.
Tony's good enough. I like Tony. So
Tony retweeted my tweet.
Did he? Bless his heart.
He does baseball calls for like a minor league team.
Yeah.
And I made a meme where it was like, the ball's going deep, deep. I'm sorry, fans, we're out of time. And he retweeted it, and then Jim Ross retweeted it, and then one of the guy's wives, the blonde with big boobs. I know, any one of them.
Yeah, come
on. Be more specific. Not Missy Hyatt. Okay, that helps.
The Walking Riot, Missy Hyatt.
Missy Hyatt. Oh, I liked her back when she was a little chunkier, but that's just me.
I like my 1991 Missy Hyatt. So, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Missy, for the hours of enjoyment in my room by myself.
Oh, but it's $9.99. Oh.
Okay, guys, that was part 1 of this episode. Make sure you check out part 2. It'll be coming up shortly. Have a good night.